Hello, hello. Okay, so I was thinking to myself every time, so when I'm driving home, driving to work, um, hello, hello, hello. Man, this thing, jeez, this mic, yeah, yeah. I don't know. There's something wrong with my mic, but I said, okay, that mic, the game's good. Every time I go to work, I go, what is it, 98.6 or 7 or something like that, shine, and I don't mind it. Sorry. Um, sorry, my skin's a little dry. I just got hopped out. Um, and I watch the stuff. I listen to the music, and sometimes it's good. I'm starting to have a better appreciation for CCM, which is Christian contemporary music, but I kind of don't like it because it has this weird contradiction. So what I've heard, and again, I don't really know any of the people on there, but the impression I get when I hear it, every time I hear it, and it brings me kind of like a sense of cringe. And it's not just cringe; it's just like frustration, irritation, kind of a teeth gnawing, crushing, gnawing, an irritation, annoyance, some sort of aggravation. And that's when I hear so many artists, and they vary, they sound different, but and they had this perspective of like life is hard, life sucks, but we can get through it, or life sucks but God is in control. And I've seen that in the other ones, and like the ocean song and stuff like that. And you hear all this musical versatility, but my issue is less of that and more so of this theme of a sanitized Christianity with prominent persons or people who proclaim themselves to be dirty, messy, flawed, but still remain in the sanitary space, the sanitary area of kind of Christian contemporary music. It's probably for myself personally why I don't like watching a lot of it. I'll listen to it every now and then, and sometimes it's just very soothing to hear something very light but very Christian, something that you know is not so much something that you know is Christian, because sometimes the if you don't know the music, you might have a hard time. Might I don't know. You might have a hard time understanding who the message is directed towards. You know, and it's just like, what's this song about? You know, because it's like it sometimes it's so figurative and so vague. You if you're Christian, you understand who it's towards, who the audience is toward, and who the subject is about. But sometimes it's so vague. If you weren't a Christian, if you turned off your Christian goggles for a second, you're like, who? What's this song about? So, but yeah, I never liked that because I hear so many versatile members, and they're just surrounded by such a sterile place, such a very clean, very dainty, not dainty, but very nice and sanitized um medium. And they always say, I'm just so flawed. All right, let's go to the nice channel station. And then they make light jokes and banter and stuff like that. And then we get to another song, and it's like, I'm crushed, I'm beaten, but God is overcome, you know? And it just, that theme is brings me frustration because it's like life isn't sanitized. Life is not this crushing life is not clean. Life is not sanitized. Life is very dirty, very messy. Is it has a lot of gray in it. It's not just black and white. And I get it. From different perspectives, or at least different places. It's a place like a refuge, you know. So if when you get through all the craziness in the world, you want a refuge to come to. And sometimes it's that for other people it might be rock music. But for myself, it was just like, who's the audience? Who's the audience? You know, Is it for suburban people, or middle class families? Is it just for them who have a bad day and they just have a hard time, like, you know, taking care of their family and they just need some peace? Is it for the person who's homeless, starving, and stuff like that? Is it for somebody who can't pay the bills? Sorry. Um, who is it for? Sometimes it's good. Again, I remember when I was just riding out my car and I was like, I'm feeling a little apprehensive. And I turned on that radio station and I felt calm. I'm like, all right, this is safe. This is real safe. So, I felt confidence during that morning. I'm like, this probably is why people watch this. I can understand why people could watch this. People could listen to this radio stations, because they're very light, and then sometimes they're directed at like your problems, and everything's going to be okay. And I know the rent is due, and I know the payments need to be made, but everything's going to be all right in God's control. But sometimes things aren't what you expect. Sometimes that rent don't get paid. Sometimes uh, you might have some water to just eat. And that's just it. Life ain't life's hard sometimes. Um, and sometimes life won't always be merciful to you. And this belief in God sometimes is hard because you have all this faith, you have all of these beliefs, and sometimes the things you really do need are, if it's in God's hands, you don't know what He's got planned. Because what you thought you needed, you didn't get, and what you thought you wanted, you didn't get. And so it's just like, man, so what's God really looking at? What is God planning? Because it don't seem like my needs are getting met. It don't seem like this is what God's trying to help me to get. You know. So what I'm saying is just like life can be very hard. Life can be just very, 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 very toilsome. And sometimes not hearing a very light message to me isn't helpful, you know, because it's like, what kind of life are you living? Is it if this is meant for just suburban families who already have houses and they just get stressed out working so much and having so much on their plate, like they're rich and the wealthy and the middle class and the upper middle class and those who are well to do, they still struggle. I'm not gonna say that they don't, but what I'm saying is like if there's people who are actually suffering, like they're really going through it, is this going to really help them out? And that's just my point. And that's why, like, when I listen to stuff like the C Christian hip hop and stuff like that, they talk about like really brutal issues like discrimination, heartbreak, poverty. Like, man, we didn't have nothing to eat, but God was still there, or we're gonna reach out to these people because they're poor, they're homeless, they need some help. And it's just like, man, really? Wow, they really out here, and it's like they don't need a nice soft message. They need some real stuff. They need some stuff. They need some real truth to be like, this is really gonna help me and I'm gonna be okay. Not this fluffy, airy stuff that's like I like in this very skillful manner. I go through problems, but God has me, And then we go back to our sanitized broadcasting and about, oh, we just laughing, ha ha, that's great, that's great, ha ha ha. It's like I don't know. It doesn't sit well with me knowing that there's far more problems than certain radio stations project. It's just so many more problems out there. So it's like, how can we how can we do that? How can we bring more music that's not just honest and real as they want to call it? um how can we bring music that isn't just targeting the church to say we gotta look at ourselves, like, because That I don't know. For me, that's obvious, but perhaps other people is not. Like when if we do want to go outward, we got to go inward. What Jordan Peterson was saying: clean your room before you try to take over the world. Before you start going out there, go in here. And it's real problematic that you hear that from a psychologist versus a church. Um, it's not problematic in the fact that he knew it because they know about mental health, but it's problematic because the church claims itself to be a beacon of hope and better than everything else, or at least that substance that's better than everything else. Like get Jesus and everything is going to be okay. And I'm not saying either they're wrong. I'm Christian. I believe it. But what I am saying is that specifically when it comes down to actual tough problems that really like hunger and pain and discrimination and I don't know, bigotry or some guy who just didn't give you a break and they kept crushing you and they just treat you like the great malice of life. You need something that's not just fluffy and light. You need something that's like, do not worry. You're stronger than you think. And even if you have to put God in there and say, hey, God made you stronger than you think, people need that. And if God was promoting supernatural stuff, we need that too. If he was saying, hey, you trust in me, things you don't expect will happen. And I've heard that plenty of times, but I'm talking about actual stuff that's gonna happen. People need that. People need truth. And they don't just need truth that sounds good. They need truth that affects their actual reality. You know, they need security. They need to feel safe. And I don't think CCM makes people with bigger problems than suburbia, I guess, feel safe. I don't think so. I don't think so. Sorry, just checking. Um, and I don't mean to take any shots at people. I don't think that the things that they're doing is making if it's making people feel safe, it's making their own audience feel safe. It's not really. I don't personally think it's like it's is looking death in the face and saying, "I know this is hard. This is death, and this is the worst it's gonna get." But if you look right there, there's hope. If you look the worst terrible thing, the darkness long enough, just like what Jordan Peterson was talking about. Like if you look death and darkness long enough, you'll see a glimmer of hope, and that'll get you through your day. If you see the most terrible, destructive thing, and you say, and it's the worst thing, and it look like it's gonna consume you, and you see Jesus, and you say, "I'm here, I got you. Don't you worry, I got you. You feel like you slipping, I got you." And you're like, yes, I need that. I need to hold on and I need to believe. You know, like the world ain't coming to an end. You know, I have you in my hands. I got you. I think that's what people need. We just maybe we need variety and maybe we need that gradient of softness and that really tough stuff. But we can't just have soft stuff all the time. I don't think so. I personally don't think so. I don't think it's going to be helpful. I don't think that's gonna really drive it home that like life is vicious, life is tough, and you need something. You need an anchor when things feel like you getting tossed around like a hurricane in the wind. You need something that's gonna sink you to some solid footing. So that's what I got. I'm adding some words I got working about in real soon, but I just figured I'd share this.